Hello, the king of content here with Bryan Pearson. Bryan, thank you for sitting down with me in the King's Court. Briefly, for the people watching who may not be familiar with you, explain who you are and what brings you to the Art of Marketing Conference.
Well, I'm the president and CEO of an organization called Loyalty One, and I've recently written a book which will be published in May called The Loyalty Leap, which is about connecting customer information to customer intimacy. And it really is founded on many years of work that we've done at Loyalty One, where we've learned how to really leverage customer information to create differential experiences for customers and to grow business and sales for companies.
And why is brand loyalty so important?
Well, if you look out what's happening in the marketplace, you have a huge issue in terms of the number of marketing messages that consumers receive day in and day out. And so the importance of loyalty is less about how you create those messages and more about how you create resonance with customers so that customers actually will pay attention to the messages that you have. And with the amount of competition that exists, you want brand loyalty because and you want to create engagement with customers because that is ultimately how you're going to sustain your revenues and that relationship with the customer over time.
Now, we had a thing called a loyalty leap in my kingdom, and it was pretty much I told them to jump off of the parapets of the castle and that they would survive. It was a lie, but I wanted to see if they would do what I said. What are the loyalty leaps that you're talking about that companies have to take?
It's a leap, or as they said in Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's more like just a step to the right. It's one of these things where foundationally companies seem to be very obsessed about marketing their products and getting out there and talking about that. And the loyalty leap is really about getting companies to think about how they move from being product obsessed to being much more committed around the customer. And what's fascinating to me after years, in fact even shocking, is that after years of watching and working with companies, how little they really truly understand their customers and how they interact with their brand. And the loyalty leap serves to break that down by having them understand the customer more fully and then use that information across the enterprise in how they make decisions.
Now, as a king, loyalty is very important to me. Is fear still a good tactic for brand loyalty? If you convince them that if they don't buy your product, they'll be eaten by a dragon.
Yeah, well, I have a whole chapter in the book called Hope and Fear. It's all based on the fact that there are 5 basic fears that really drives a lot of the behavior we have as human beings. You know, the fear of death to yourself or to your clan, the fear of being insignificant, the fear of being alone, of strangers. You know, and so if you can tap into those fears, King, I think what you'll find is that you can drive the kind of behaviors that you want. It's far nicer to actually work on the side of driving to hope. But you know, if you have to lean on the fear thing, it can work.
I'm scared of bees.
I didn't write about the fear of bees. I'm sorry.
Well, if you ever can find a product that'll keep bees away from me,
all right,
I will buy it and stay loyal to that product. Now, there is nothing more relevant in this modern age than kings. But what relevancy do businesses need, and why is relevancy so important to brand loyalty?
Well, you know, when we think about creating intimate relationships or connections with customers, the focus around that is really what we call the 3 R's, which is about rewarding them, recognizing them, and ultimately creating relevant experiences for them. And I think that today, with the number of messages that consumers are facing, you know, consumers crave for companies to actually leverage the information they have about them to create truly relevant experiences. And so the reason why relevance is critical is it allows you to break out of the clutter. It allows you to put the content that you're trying to get across in a contextual environment which causes the consumer to wake up and take notice. And if you can create relevance, if you can create communications that connect with the customer at that level, then you have a much greater opportunity of breaking out and having your message heard in the sea of things that are coming at them every day.
Now, there is nothing more relevant in this modern age than kings. But how would a company achieve relevancy?
Foundationally, it is about knowing more about your customers. So in a lot of ways, whether you have a loyalty program or not, focusing on how you capture customer information is critical to leading down the path of being able to get to that stage of communicating on a relevant basis. I think a loyalty program is a very elegant way to actually capture information, to engage in a dialogue with consumers. And so once you get that information, the next thing you have to do as a company is make that data available across the enterprise. So it's what we call enterprise loyalty. It is about having every part of the organization think about how they transform the customer experience by understanding more about the customer. And so that changes the platform, it changes the way that those companies will compete over time.
Bryan, thank you very much for sitting down with the King and explaining to me about brand loyalty. And good luck and have a good day. Enjoy the art of marketing.
Thank you.